All right, ladies and gentlemen, so for this video, I'm actually going to set you up right here in the danger zone. It is a spot directly underneath the target. So you will get a good perspective here. You may be wondering why we're back. What did I do to the bow? Well, in this case, what I've actually done is just continue the process that I showed you in the last video on how I tune the bow. So what I've done here is I've just continued this process. I just did yet another melt. So this is the third one now, but I've got it looking really nice and smooth and clean. And all those little bits that dripped down took off a fair bit of weight. I also redid the string one more time because I found it wasn't quite perfect. So theoretically, we will be carrying, well, definitely more speed. Okay. Now the trick here is it's easy to add wax, guys. I can always add that weight back, but I don't think I want to. 20.5 inch, AliExpress, 6.2 mil. Oh, that's nice. This is such a nice bow, guys. It was always a nice bow. Lexi, no, be a good girl. Look at that. I'm seeing a noticeable increase in arrow speed right away, but I'm not losing significant penetration. They're still hitting really hard. And this is because we're in the sweet zone right now. And that's really what I want to establish, is where my sweet zone is. Now I've pretty much taken as much wax off the string and off of the tips as I can. And that is exactly what I have instructed you guys to do. And this is why, because that'll give you the best combination of weight while still allowing your limb tips to move freely because they don't have too much weight. Man, that was awesome. I just Robin Hooded one arrow and the other two are here. That was great. That's how accurate these are, guys. There's no joke there. I mean, these bows have always been pinpoint accurate, but the better the arrow speed you put up when you get the dialing in of that just right, it can be so incredible. And I would really like to recommend this as a method to tune up any bow you've ever had. Wax the string and wax the tips of the bow. It'll make it quieter. You can hear it so quiet shooting now, it's not even funny, guys. And again, you know, I don't just talk about accuracy. It's always there. You know, I'm not really even aiming. You guys can see me doing it. I'm sitting here talking to you guys. I'm really not focused on trying to put out my best groups. But at the same time, this makes it so easy to do. Lexi, no barking. Pinpoint the dead center of the target every time if I want to. It's a really nice layup. Really just such a nice little bow now. And the best news is I'm not done. These are the overly heavy arrows. Again, another Robin Hood. You know, I've been shooting all my life, and in the end, it's been one of my most satisfying hobbies. Not just the shooting, which I adore. I absolutely love shooting. It's one of my all-time favorite pastimes. And I spend more time shooting than I do any other type of hobby. In fact, it's something that I just reach for every day. And it's kind of like my Zen time. Lexi, shut up! Stop barking! Lexi! What are you doing? Shh. Be a good girl. Quiet. No barking. No barking. She's a sweet dog, but she really likes it when she gets her treats. One of our roommates works a night shift, and he doesn't get off until 3 in the morning, so it's around that time now. But unfortunately, that's partly just the way it is. We're all on varying schedules, but luckily for me, between the fact that my neighbor is a carpenter and all three of us are up at this hour in this house as well, it allows me the freedom to do stuff like this, luckily. So, on that note, I'm seeing definite success here. This is really nice. see, I can clearly punch through a target when I want, and it's increased its penetration. Before, I would just barely be sticking through a layer or just barely sticking through two. That got me the penetration plus an extra 1.5 inches. Well, that's significant, considering that's a fairly light shot. I'm not pushing it hard. This is a heavy 20-inch arrow. This is wicked. Absolutely no trouble punching it in anytime, anywhere, but I can still do my trick shots when I want to, and I just do love doing archery, man. What can I tell you? I felt I needed to share this method with you guys. It is an adaptation from the Navajo method, and just like this is an adaptation of a Navajo-style bow. In fact, it's originally built specifically to Navajo standards, topping out at about 62.5 pounds right now. At 20 inches, it's exactly 50 pounds. It was 45 on that 18-incher, but I have broken that 18-incher as I showed, and it is not with us anymore, my friends. But that's okay, because it was never intended for use on this bow, or on any of these bows. It was just made out of a broken arrow. You could hear those two hit, guys. They're pinpoint accurate. This is such a nice bow, and you can hear that. All three of those arrows are pretty much making contact with each other in the way that I like to have them, two right next to each other kissing, and the third one crossing. And I've showed that same pattern in so many of my videos, guys. If you've been watching over the last couple of years, you'll know that that's no joke. But this bow is technically finished now. I have the weight dialed into where I want, so I'm getting a really sweet combination of arrow speed and impact force. So good that I can do really intense trick shots, because I can give this arrow a lot more momentum than I could before. Like I said, in the ricochet, you can really hear how hard each of those ricochet hits was. Even on the third hit, it had a lot of impact force. And it didn't have that before on the third hit. And at the same time, every time I hit it with these 20-inch arrows, with any kind of decent shot, no skill shot, no spring release, no nothing, I'm punching it so hard, I get concerned about going any harder than that, because that's the perfect ricochet. That won't hurt the dog, and it'll get it back to my feet with no trouble. Either do that or I do that, and make my two arrows kissy kissy, like I always show. Because there's nothing quite like perfect accuracy, guys. And if you want perfect accuracy, well, it helps if you have a perfect bow. Hey, Lexi, quiet. And in the end, it really is an important thing to have your setup perfect. So, I need to do a finish on this bow, a final review. And in the end, obviously you know where this is going. This has been one of the best bows I've ever had in my life. At this poundage, it is the best bow I've ever had in my life. My deer antler bow shot faster, penetrated harder, but it was an 80-pound bow. This is a 60-pound bow. It makes a big difference. For that 20 pounds less, you get such a comfy, easy draw weight that fires such bullets. Even on a 20-inch overweight arrow, this is epic, because I can take absolutely any arrow in the house at this point, guys, and lay up the kind of shots that will surprise. And if you're here in person and you see how heavy the arrow builds are, I just Robin Hooded another arrow, guys. But that is the beauty of these nocks. I actually came up with this idea in the first place. They're called Robin Hood nocks. I named them that. I also invented the arrow release. There's a lot of things I've done in my lifetime, guys. And over the years, I figured out the ultimate way to build what you would call a short bow. This is any bigger than this, and it's really not a short bow anymore. It's just a bow. My small 38-inch short bow is about as short as you could make a short bow that's any good. And it's badass, but I find it too small. So kid-like. This was meant to be my hunting bow, and I gotta tell you, I just adore this thing. It's come out so nice. And now that I have everything locked in, the tiller never moves. Nothing changes. It's so locked in, the brace height doesn't change, which means my knock position never changes. It's all locked in. Lexi! It's all locked in, and between the twists and the wax holding everything in place, you don't see any twists anymore when you look up and down the string. It's much smoother, it's much lighter, it's much more consistent. The same is true of the tips. I wonder if this will show up on camera. I can't wait to see actually the difference between each of these three treatments, because this one I really went out of my way to get what I could see was every little bit out of it until it pretty much stopped dripping and I wasn't risking burning anything. But I came close because I wanted to make sure I got all the excess off. And I'm really glad I did, because that was a very energetic shot, guys. It landed right in between my buckets. And it was a very energetic shot. Not only did I hear it in the impact force, but I felt it. When you release a shot from this bow now, you feel it more in your forearm. Not because you're drawing harder, but because it's pushing harder when it releases. And that's a really important thing. That is the result of all this wax, guys. Not everybody would want that. Some folks might have been happy without the wax, and it would have been perfect for them. Like I said, it all depends on what you want. In my case, I wasn't kidding. My plan is to optimize this within certain parameters. I prioritize the weight being in that bow, in that string, so that I can fire nice, heavy, short arrows. Lexi, quiet. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Shut up. Right in the bucket. So this is the kind of thing I like. I mean, it's, you know, I like to play with my ricochets. And to do this, I meant what I said early on. I can't do it with any more powerful of a bow than this. Because on a shot like that, where I'm pulling shy of its actual draw length and pulling about that 18-inch of draw, it's a 50-pound bow already, guys. And by the time I actually hit this arrow's full 20 inches of draw, it's a 55-pound bow. Now, these compound bow arrows are rated for exactly that. It's one of the reasons why I like this bow so much. It's really perfect for these particular types of arrows. And it's the reason I've ordered a set. Also, interestingly enough, with the red leather wrap I have here, the inserts on my arrows match this, as do my fletches, as do the tips I bought. So it'll be a nice build because the shafts are black, and they're going to be a really pretty. It's going to be a really pretty build, and I'm really excited to see what those arrows are going to be like to shoot off this bow now. Lexi, quiet. Jesus, she is pushy, that one. She's outside 5 minutes and she starts to complain. Horrible. Oh, that's so perfect. I was literally looking at that 2-millimeter lip that is the edge of this bucket, you guys, and it smoked exactly the pinpoint spot I was looking at. I mean, it takes a lot to make a bow this perfect, that I can do these ricochet shots and aim for these precision shots. Some of these shots I'm aiming are less than a millimeter I have to spare, or I will totally miss that shot like that. Because what I did here is ricochet off the edge of the bucket, from the edge of the bucket to the edge of the metal, from the edge of the metal into the target. And you guys could hear all that happening, which is why I love doing it like this. And no doubt, from your perspective, it probably shook the camera. Even though the camera isn't even on this target, it's on the stand. But when I pull a shot like that and hit that 2-millimeter lip and bounce that back to me with a perfect ricochet, you can hear it and feel it. It's the reason I like to do it like this. I've shot other videos like this, and it comes out neat because you see that arrow right here in front of you, and you know that I didn't bullshit you when I said I could ricochet it if I want. And you know by the sound of how hard that's hitting, I can certainly punch it through if I want to. It's that kind of thing. So, given that I've established that these are very fast shooting bows, even with a 20-inch overbuild arrow. Lexi, shut up. Can't just let her bark, man. She absolutely will. But you can't shoot her either, because that's not fair. She's a dog. I mean, she's going to bark. I'm not going to punch her over it, but at the same time, it would be nice if she didn't do that at 3 in the morning. Because, you know, that's not nice. Anyway, so, in the end, my thoughts on this bow, man, have been really nothing but good all the way through. This bamboo bow series has really surprised me. The way that the limbs twist and the spring grip put together give me a very unique combination of abilities, which I'm not using in this video at all. These are just the regular shots coming off the bow at this point. And that is a really incredibly telling thing, because earlier tonight, before I did all the wax removal, I would have had to really push to get these arrow speeds, whereas now I don't. And I'm just firing the bow naturally, casually and easily, and it's putting up those kind of shots. And when you can do that casual and easily and get nice penetration of a kind that will go 2 or 3 inches through this kind of hard impact foam, that's actually really impressive, because what that indicates is that it'll go much deeper than that into a deer. And with the impact force that I have, if it hits a rib or anything like that, it'll just keep going. It'll skip right off that rib. It won't just bounce back. It won't bounce out. Because the rib is rounded, just like you see with the metal bar. I don't hit the metal bar and have it bounce back at me. I hit the metal bar and have it come off. Why? Because I'm aiming for the space between ribs. It's one of the reasons I like to simulate aiming for such a spot as I just did. And so I'll show you that shot, because that is in the corner, like between the ribs. I give myself